We enter the final countdown. The starter waves the flag and away goes Adrian Archibald. Maybe looking for better results than what he's had so far, but Ian Locker is next to go. Ian sets off now. Left foot up on the pegs. Crouched down across the tank. Came off the other day in the 600 at Union Mills, so he'll be taking that a little bit more carefully maybe as he goes through this time. It's a windy old day around the Isle of Man today, as there goes magnificent McGuinness, John McGuinness, 3 wins and a runners-up place already so far. And now his teammate on the Yamaha R6, Jason Griffiths, Welsh-born, based of course in Ramsey these days. He's been on the podium twice in the last 2 races, 2 third places, and now Bruce Anstey, the flying Kiwi, the man who's possibly the biggest threat to John McGuinness for the Formula One later on today. Number 6 in the McAdoo colours, I said Formula One, I meant senior of course. Number 6 in the Formula One colours is Ryan Farquhar, and followed by number 7, Raymond Porter, the man who's been promoted up the order after a sensational 8th place in the junior the other day. Raymond Porter starting at 7 on his Suzuki, and away goes Richard Britton right behind him. Richard Britton looking for his first podium of this TT. He was 4th in the junior. His results have been getting better all the time. Now number 9, Chris Heath, sets off, one of the Manx-based contenders. Chris on his Yamaha R6. Now Mark Parrott, number 10. Mark, who was 3rd on Monday in the lightweight. That's his best TT finish so far. Rider number 11 is Nigel Davis on the 600cc Honda. Away goes Nigel under the footbridge. A little bit cloudy now overhead, but no threat to the racing conditions. Martin Finnegan sets off for his coffee appointment with Andy McGladdery at Ramsey Hairpin. If you were listening the other day, sensational cornering by Martin, and Andy in all of a lather. We can't wait for their next confrontation at Ramsey this time. Away goes number 13, that's Sean Harris, the second of the New Zealanders, and Gary Carswell getting underway. Not perhaps the smoothest of starts by Gary, but he's well underway now and off under the footbridge and down towards St Ninians. And it looks like Paul Hunt is a non-starter because there's nobody at number 15. Nobody at number 15, so Big H is a non-starter, but 16 is underway. That's Gordon Blackley on the 600cc Honda CBR. Yamaha time is 12 minutes to 11. We'll take a short break.
Keep up to date with all the action in the TT Week with the Ulster newsletter. On sale on the island all week.
Great clothing, great choice, great value. Where? Behind the grandstand. There's a fabulous selection of quality TT merchandise for the whole family. Make this a TT to remember and buy your official gear from Motorsport Merchandise or visit ttmerchandise.com.
Everyone knows that the all-new Yamaha R1 is this year's must-have bike, but with fantastic insurance deals through Yamaha Insurance Services on award-winning R6 and Phaser 600, there's never been a better time to visit your local Yamaha dealer. Log on to yamaha-motor.co.uk for more details.
I don't think I saw Ian Hutchinson depart, number 19. I don't think there was a starter at number 19, so he is officially listed as a non-starter. So no Ian Hutchinson, who is due to go at 19. Number 20, though, Ian Watson has got safely away. And next off is number 24, so there must have been another non-starter there. Indeed there was, number 23. So Jun Maeda, the Japanese rider, is a non-starter as well on his Honda, so no Jun Maeda. However, Guy Martin did get away, and going away now is John Donnan, the motorcycle dealer from Ardglass on his R6, 21st in this race last year. Now Craig Atkinson. Craig from Bingley in Yorkshire, the director of a company that supplies and fits kitchens and bedrooms. Not too much kitchen and bedroom fitting has been going on for the last 2 weeks in Bingley, I suspect, but he's off on his way. And now there goes Chris Palmer, the man who's picked up 2 awards already this week. He's on for a great TT, whatever happens. Now to Glen Helen and Maurice Maudsley.
Thank you, Charlie. We await the arrival of the first man, Adrian Archibald. We reckon could be about 4:50 because conditions are still, well, it's damp, to be quite honest. There are many damp patches, certainly on this run-up from Ballacrane. Although the weather is fine, We don't expect the fantastic speeds that we've had in previous years. 450, 452 maybe for Archibald. Remember, 446 last year. We're already over 5 minutes. So that shows the conditions are not that good. Number one, Adrian Archibald. When we say not that good, not as good as they have been previously. But here's Locker. So taking it a little more gingerly, I suppose. The third man is into view, but this man's quicker. I would think almost certainly has caught up some time there, John McGuinness, but it's evident that the conditions on this first 9.5 miles are not as they have been earlier in the week. We went back to a couple of years ago when, of course, Locker set the lap and race records as number 4. Jason Griffiths is safely here too. The quickest 2 years ago was 4:49 here, and it's now over 5 minutes, so we're not on record speed, but we're in for a good race nonetheless. 5, Bruce Anstey, with already a victory to his credit this week, and the second place. Nix is next. That's that distinctive McAdoo outfit of Ryan Farquhar. They're all through here on lap 1 at Glen Helen in conditions that I think they're taking a little bit gingerly because of these damp patches, particularly through this very tricky section. 7, that's Raymond Porter, having moved up, and much clearer roads for him than there have been previously. That fantastic 8th place. Number 8 next is Richard Britton. I would have thought he'd have caught up some time there. I suspect we'll be looking at the first 12 or 13 certainly before we give you the full leaderboard and rundown of that one. Another machine interview down the left-hander. 9, Chris Heath. Some good finishing places this week. An 8th, a 13th, a 10th. Always a little bit on the pace. 10, Mark Parrott, and he really has had a good week. Couple of 7ths, a 3rd and 5th, but nobody's had a better week than that man McGuinness, number 3. 3 wins and a 2nd place, already to his credit. 18th in this race, of course, last year. I suspect he's going to do a considerable amount better than that. 11, Nigel Davis, followed very closely by 12. That's Martin Finnegan. 7th in this race last year and 6th in the junior, but 13 with some time. Sean Harris certainly caught up there, last year's winner, and Sean Harris certainly has caught up time on Martin Finnegan. The first 13 are all through here, all those numbers safely through. 14 should be Gary Carswell, he should be the next one. Then we'll get the gap with Paul Hunt not being a starter. There is 14. So Gary also safely negotiated this first 9.5 miles. But at the front, well, the sequence was the same on the road. None of those have actually changed places, but McGuinness leads. Again, McGuinness leads. Gordon Blackley's through, but only by 1 second. It's very close there between Ian Locker and Ryan Farquhar. So totally together, we can't separate them. 1 second down on McGuinness lap 1. 17, Roy Richardson. Gently through. It's noticeably slower paced than we've had previously, feeling their way on this first lap, getting to know where the damp patches are. But the news from Glen Helen lap 1, McGuinness leads from in joint 2nd place. Number 2, Ian Locker. Number 6, Ryan Farquhar. 3 seconds then separate them from the 4th place man. That's number 5, Bruce Anstey. Anstey in turn 1 second up in joint 5th place. I'll give you those in a moment because we've got another bike with us. 18, Jonathan Ralph on the Suzuki, and then 2 more, so a bit of time pulled out here. 20, Ian Watson, and 21, Thomas Montano. 22nd for him last year. He went 9th place in the 400. We were down to 5th place jointly. 4, Jason Griffiths, and number 13, Sean Harris. They're just 1 second down on Bruce Anstey, and 1 second ahead of in joint 7th place, numbers 1, Adrian Archibald, number 8, Richard Britton. 1 second further down on that as we take 22, Alex Donaldson through. In 9th place, number 7, Raymond Porter. 2 seconds down on that in 10th place, number 10, Mark Parrott. 1 second further back in the 11th place, number 9, Chris Heath, and he's a 1 second advantage over 12, Martin Finnegan in that 12th place. That's Guy Martin through, the newcomer. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 to 11 seconds separate the first 12 only after that first 9.5 mile, but it's John McGuinness who leads by 1 second. So although we're not on race or lap record speed, it's certainly made for very, very close racing indeed. 1, 2 more machines into view. 3, in fact. 25, 26, 27, as close as that. John Donn and Craig Atkinson. Chris Palmer having that fantastic week has obviously pulled back a lump of time on both John Donnan and Craig Atkinson, and he's making his way beyond us now as another machine round this left-hander. The 28, Ian Armstrong. The marshals have been out before you came over to us, putting some cement dust down on some of the slippier spots, both before and after us. Another machine, 29. David Bell, the highest number so far. So the news from Glen Helen, lap 1, with conditions that are damp. It's McGuinness who leads by 1 second from Locker, and Farquhar in 4th place then, number 5, Bruce Anstey, 5th jointly for Jason Griffiths, and number 13, Sean Harris, then 1, 8, 7, 16 up there, 10, 9 and 12 back to the grandstand.
Don't miss any of the latest TT action when you're on the island. The Ulster newsletter is on sale all week. And if you somehow miss anything, catch up with our spectacular review of the week on Monday the 14th. The Ulster newsletter is at the races.
Well, a very tight race developing already then, and maybe Ryan Farquhar will have a change of luck after the problems that he had with his engine packing up the other day in the junior. We have an additional non-starter because Mark Vernon, number 35, didn't make it to the start line, so no Mark Vernon at number 35. But there's still quite a few riders waiting to set off here for the start of this production 600 TT. And just looking up towards the starting line now, I think that's Scott Cruz from Fort Worth in Texas on bike number 73. He starts now, off he goes. Just having a little look down to make sure that everything is okay, adjusting the visor as he goes past us. This is his TT debut for Scott. He rode in the Proddy 1000 with a time of just over 100 miles an hour. But it's time for us to go to Ramsey and Andy.
We're still waiting as a rider comes into sight. In fact, it's Ian Locker. Ian Locker has taken the lead on the road. That's unbelievable. Followed closely by Adrian Archibald and John McGuinness. So all three in close company. But I can tell you, Ian Locker leads on the road. He's already taken that 10 seconds out of Adrian Archibald and added a couple to it as well, because he had probably about a 20-yard lead as he came into the hairpin, and then probably about another 3 or 4 seconds behind that was McGuinness as Jason Griffiths comes into view. Probably a faster approach than the other three that have already been through here. Very smooth and clean round the hairpin and away up the hill towards the waterworks. As into sight comes Bruce Anstey, closely followed by Ryan Farquhar. Anstey smooth and clean, Farquhar very quick. Farquhar's obviously gained quite an advantage on Anstey on corrected time, because again he's only some 20-30 yards, well not even that, probably 15 yards behind Anstey as they disappear up the hill towards the waterworks. You can tell actually from the difference between the junior on Wednesday, and bearing in mind these bikes are very, very close to junior bikes, they approach the hairpin a lot slower. They're obviously feeling the way around. Number 7 slides it in on the inside. Very tight line there for Raymond Porter. Different line for virtually all the rest of the field. He comes in on the inside of the white line. As into view comes Richard Britton. Richard Britton, number 8, safely around the hairpin, away up the hill towards the waterworks. And another rider coming to sight. Who's this? It's number 9. Number 9 is Chris Heath. Chris Heath always smooth on this circuit. Gets his knees stuck out and away up the hill. So very fast and furious. But as I was saying, they're certainly not approaching with the speed they were in the junior. Obviously trying to find out where the damp patches are. As number 10 comes round, that's Mark Parrott. He's had another good run in the TT this year. Mark Parrott, all these bikes sound beautiful as they disappear up the hill towards the waterworks section, then onto the gooseneck. The lead is now probably Bungalow and beyond. And into view now comes, he gives us a lovely wiggle. Thank you, Martin. Martin Finnegan. He didn't have it sideways there. He just gave us a wiggle, just a wheelie going out. Number 11 and number 13. So it was number 12, Martin Finnegan, was already through. 11, Nigel Davis goes through, and 13, Sean Harris. So Sean Harris is catching. The other two. Certainly, he's made a lot of time up on Nigel Davis, who set off 20 seconds in front of him. Now I have some information from the pit earlier on from Mystic Moody, the new nickname given to him by McGuinness's pit crew, and he's fancying Sean Harris for this race. He seems to think he's going to pull all the stops out as number 16 and number 14 approach. So number 16 has gained some time. Gordon Blackley, because Gary Carswell, number 14, has been very consistent and generally been ahead, I think, of Blackley in most of the races. But whether he's had a bit of a moment, who knows? Because let's face it, the conditions are terrible out there. when you get damp under the trees. It's worse than rain because you're flat out in all the sunny sections where it's all bone dry under a tree. Suddenly you hit a damp patch and you don't know how hard to chase. Roy Richardson there, very distinctive in his bright orange leathers. Roy Richardson on the Suzuki up the hill. Yeah, you approach a section flat out and suddenly you find it's damp under the trees, and it's so hard to predict and so hard to know. Of course, on a short circuit you get a sighting lap. So the first lap of this race really is the guy's sighting lap, because they've not been around in these conditions until this morning, until the race has started. So it's very difficult for the riders, very difficult to predict. And of course it can be quite dangerous, because if you're full on, flat out, absolutely on it, and suddenly you hit a damp patch, well, that's going to be slippy, the bike's going to move, and it can cause all sorts of problems, which I don't have to tell you, I'm sure. Number 21 approaches, closely followed by number 20, Ian Watson on the Kawasaki from up my neck of the woods there, up near Gisborough, Boosbeck. Very wide line for Ian. I think he's trying hard there, because he was certainly hard on the brakes and he was very fast round the corner, but took a bit of a wide line, perhaps lost a little bit of time there with his enthusiasm as number 18 comes into view. Number 18, Jonathan Ralph, another Suzuki mounted machine, and he disappears up the hill. A look back, I don't know whether he got a little twitch on there, but he had a look back as he went up the hill towards Waterworks. And another one coming into view, number 22, another tight line here, right on the white line. I've got some times I can give you. And the update from Ramsey Hairpin is John McGuinness, number 3 on the Yamaha, still holds that 1 second lead, exactly the same as it was at Glen Helen, from Ryan Farquhar on the Kawasaki. Ryan Farquhar, now number 6, now holds a 4 second advantage. So he's pulled 4 seconds out on Locker, because they were equal at Glen Helen, but here at Ramsey holds a 4 second advantage over number 2, Ian Locker. Ian Locker, in turn, holds a 4 second advantage over Jason Griffiths and Bruce Anstey. The Yamaha and the Suzuki riders 4 and 5 can't be split. 6 seconds down on them is Gordon Blackley. 1 second down on them equal Adrian Archibald, Chris Heath and Sean Harris. Another second down Raymond Porter, and another second down on those. In 10 equal 10th Richard Britton. And with that, it's back to the grandstand.
Well, here at the grandstand, we're all huddling up a bit, or at least those who are outside in the stands are. It's paddock jacket weather today, a bit blowy, a little bit cold. Here in the commentary box, it's been quite warm up until now, but nobody's complaining today. An additional non-starter, Craig McLean, number 71, didn't get away, and also 84 and 86 were non-starters as well. Craig McLean, David Clack and Mike Krellin, those 3 are additional non-starters. The last machine to leave us here was number 86, Philip Gilmore, as the lights come on for 2 and 3. Ian Locker and John McGuinness, and the light is also on at Cronkney-Mona for Adrian Archibald. So will we see Locker retaining his lead on the road, remembering that he had got past Archibald when they reached Andy at Ramsey Hairpin, and just at the order that the lights came on, it looks like McGuinness is passed as well. So it could be Locker, McGuinness and Archibald when they come past us here. The lights are also on for 4, 6 and 5 in that order. So it's a very tight production TT, the probably 600 today, the foretaste of the senior to come as we look up Glen Crutchery Road and wait for the first bike to come into view. Will it be Ian Locker, or will John McGuinness have reeled him in? Ian Locker on the 600 Honda CBR, and it is McGuinness. It looks like it's McGuinness who's in the lead. He comes past us now. It is McGuinness, then it's Locker, and then it's Adrian Archibald, and they come past us in line and stern. Terrific stuff, and a great spectacle for the supporters here in the stands as they disappear under the footbridge, and the plunge down Bray Hill is on. So John McGuinness, number 3, leads on the road from Ian Locker, with Adrian Archibald, who started number 1, now relegated to 3rd place. That was the order as they passed us, and here comes number 4. That's Jason Griffiths. Nice stylish line as he comes through, and there goes Ryan. Ryan's number 6, and he's ahead of the man on bike number 5. That's Bruce Anstey. We'll give you the times as soon as we can, the corrected times, which Norman is working on feverishly as the lights continue to come on the far side for 9 and 10. And it looks like it's Farquhar who is in the lead on corrected time, even though John McGuinness has leapt to the front. Ryan Farquhar on the McAdoo Kawasaki has leapt into the lead by 1 second. 1 second on John McGuinness. So let's just have a look at this, see if we can get this sorted out. Ryan Farquhar is in the lead with a 1 second advantage over John McGuinness, who, as things stand, is in 2nd place, but we're just correcting the timesheets all the time. We'll go back to Andy.
Yeah, we'd just like to slot in Tommy Klukas, number 41. He's in 4th place, or we have him here in 4th place on the stopwatch on corrected time. Just 1 second down on Ian Locker and Ryan Farquhar. That was Ramsey on lap 1.
That's interesting news indeed. Thanks very much indeed for that, Andy. So Tommy Klukas having a fantastic ride there, and that of course means that there will be quite a delay before we can give you the final version of the timings as they come past us. We'll have to wait for Tommy on number 41 to get past the grandstand. So while we're working that out and adjusting our sights, we'll take a short break. So Ryan Farquhar, the man who's had the desperate TT so far, black flagged in the Formula 1, retired in the Proddy 1000, retired at Sulby Bridge in the Junior 600, has leapt to the front after lap 1 of this 3-lap race. We have a rider coming into the pits. That is number 17, Roy Richardson, is coming in on his Suzuki and just coasting into the pits. So the lap time for Ryan, opening lap, 19 minutes, 14.6 seconds, and that's a speed of 117.64 miles an hour, so no damage there to Ian Locker's existing record figures. So Ryan Farquhar then in the lead with 1 second advantage over John McGuinness. This is as things stand at the moment. We've still got to wait for number 41 Tommy Klukas to come through, but McGuinness 9 seconds ahead of number 5 Bruce Anstey, who is 3rd at the moment, just 1 second ahead of Ian Locker in 4th. Locker having a 5-second advantage over Jason Griffiths, who's 5th. Jason has a 5-second lead over Adrian Archibald in 6th place. Archibald has a 4-second lead over number 16. That's Gordon Blackley on the PR Branson Honda. Gordon Blackley in 7th place when they passed us here. In 8th place is number 13. That's Sean Harris. In 9th is number 9, Chris Heath. And in 10th is number 7, Raymond Porter. But those figures, those placings, subject to revision when Tommy Klukas comes past us to complete his first lap. Going past us at the moment is number 24, that's Guy Martin. He finishes his first lap. The scouts feverishly adjusting the scoreboard on the opposite side. And past us now comes number 22, that's Alex Donaldson. But the leaders will be approaching Glen Helen. We'll go back there and rejoin Morris.
And they're here, McGuinness, Locker. Maybe, 10 yards separate them on the road. Archibald now, he's about 100 yards adrift of that, but great spectator sport that, to see McGuinness and Locker going and circulating together. The times reflecting, of course, the more difficult conditions of today. Nothing wrong with visibility, of course, that's excellent, and no sun to bother them particularly, but no sun either to completely dry these roads. They're not bad, but 1, 2, 3... 6, 5 and 4. So there's race leader, or certainly was at the grandstand, Ryan Farquhar through, followed by Anstey and Griffiths. And well, this is going to be fantastic around this course to get 2 and 3 short circuit style. They sweep round the long left-hander and away. And well, will there be any change in that time? Grand performance there by Farquhar. Not had the best of weeks, as we've already said, but he leads at the grandstand by that 1 second. And many more let down the field going to be in this shake-up, but we'll give you the corrected times of those that have gone through. I can tell you that Ryan continues to lead by a slightly extended, it's just 2 seconds now, his advantage over McGuinness. And of course conditions will change throughout the course of this race. There's Raymond Porter, number 7, he's through 2. Sweep that round the left-hander and safely away. 2 seconds the advantage for Ryan Farquhar ahead of McGuinness. McGuinness in turn 8 seconds up on Bruce Anstey, who's in 3rd place, number 5 as he was at the grandstand. 2 together now, 8 and 9. Richard Britton and Chris Heath. Quite obviously Chris Heath up on corrected time on Richard Britton, and I think Chris Heath was about 10th place I think at the grandstand. But into 4th place we've got number 2, maintained Ian Locker there, 2 seconds down on Anstey. That's Mark Parrott. In 5th place, number 4, Jason Griffiths. A couple of podiums for Jason, but currently lying in 5th place, 9 seconds down on Ian Locker, and 6 seconds up on Adrian Archibald, who's in that 6th place. But those are the ones who've gone through so far. McGuinness was the quickest here on lap 1, 4:59. Finnegan, number 12, Martin Finnegan and Sean Harris circulated together. And quite obvious that there, Harris up on Martin Finnegan.
Morris, I'll just cut in there because Tommy Klukas has passed us here and he's now in 6th place. Tommy Klukas, 6th place at the end of his first lap.
Good run for Tommy then from number 41, because a lot of traffic he'd have to get round to get up into that 6th place on corrected time, so obviously we'll watch for him. 11, Nigel Davis. Nigel Cap Davis, he's also safely through, but this man looks a little bit quicker. In fact it is, because that's Gordon Blackley, number 16, and I think he, certainly here we had him in about 10th place, and I think at the grandstand 3, 6, 7th place. That would probably drop down one, because Tommy Lucas would move ahead of him, but certainly 7th or 8th for Gordon Blackley, and he's safely through here. 6 minutes and 40 Tommy Lucas's starting time, so some while before he's scheduled to be with us. That's Gary Carswell. Not a bad week for Gary, and certainly a couple of finishes there and replicas, and going quite well in this production 600 on lap 2. It's going to be hectic in Gasoline Alley at the end of this lap, but that's about 28 miles from us, so a lot of racing before they even get there. But Chris Kinley's going to have his work cut out, because a lot of these are going in groups, 2s and 3s together, and that's going to make for some interesting fuel stops. But it's number 6, Ryan Farquhar, a little better luck today, so let's hope he continues and has no mechanical problems, because he leads by 2 seconds from John McGuinness. John bidding for the 4th win in the week. John McGuinness 8 seconds ahead of the man in 3rd place, Bruce Anstey, and it's deja vu really. We seem to be calling these same names all week, that half a dozen, 6 or 8 names, always in the shake-up. 21, Thomas Montano, but good performances nonetheless down the field by many of these riders, entertaining the crowds. 20, Ian Watson, as the roads continue to improve. Just looking ahead of me now, the patch certainly getting smaller, the patch of damp, and the dry bit getting bigger, so hopefully by this afternoon senior conditions will be pretty well perfect. So number 6, Ryan Farquhar, leads by 2 seconds from McGuinness. McGuinness in turn 8 seconds up on number 5, Anstey. Anstey in turn has a 2-second advantage over 2, Ian Locker, who's in 4th. He's 9 seconds ahead of Jason Griffiths, number 4, who's in 5th. 6 seconds separate him from Archibald. 24 through now, John Donnan. Archibald in that 6th place, 3 seconds ahead of number 9, Chris Heath. Then jointly in 8th, numbers 13, last year's winner Sean Harris, and number 16, Gordon Blackley, followed by 10, 8 and 12. But it's Farquhar leads by 2 seconds here from McGuinness back to the grandstand.
Don't miss any of the latest TT action when you're on the island. The Ulster newsletter is on sale all week. And if you somehow miss anything, catch up with our spectacular review of the week on Monday the 14th. The Ulster newsletter is at the races.
Everyone knows that the all-new Yamaha R1 is this year's must-have bike, but with fantastic insurance deals through Yamaha Insurance Services on award-winning R6 and Phaser 600, there's never been a better time to visit your local Yamaha dealer. Log on to yamaha-motor.co.uk for more details.
Your TT trip isn't complete without a visit to Road and Track Motorcycles, the island's sole Yamaha dealer. Check out the latest Yamaha models, including the exhilarating R1 and R6, the totally redesigned Phaser 600, and the Supermoto XT660X, only at Road and Track, Tynwald Street, Douglas.
Selon les chronos de Glenn Helen, en tête le numéro 6, Ryan Farquhar. En 19 minutes 14,6 secondes, il a 2 secondes d'avance sur le numéro 3, John McGuinness, qui a 8 secondes d'avance sur le numéro 5, Bruce Anstey. Heike.
Ja, danke schön. Also Neuigkeiten von Glenn Helen. In der zweiten Runde in Führung liegt hier Startnummer 6 Ryan Farquhar mit 2 Sekunden Vorsprung auf die Startnummer 3 John McGuinness. Der wiederum mit 8 Sekunden Vorsprung auf die Startnummer 5 Bruce Anstey. Die Dinge hier werden sehr heiß. Und nicht zuletzt Neuigkeiten. Startnummer 41 Tommy Lucas hat es tatsächlich geschafft, sich auf den 6. Platz vorzuarbeiten nach der ersten Runde. Zurück an Charlie.
Heike, thank you. Well, Tommy Lucas in 6th place. In fact, we could hardly split him from Jason Griffiths in 5th. So those two having a real duel, and Lucas has got above Archibald and Harris on the leaderboard. Roy Richardson and John Donnan have both pulled into the pits at the end of lap 1, and they have retired. A number of other riders have taken what seem to be scheduled pit stops after lap 1, but we'll head off to Ramsey. And Andy,
just as Ian Locker comes into view, he had a real big sideways twitch on the brakes coming into the hairpin, closely followed by John McGuinness. There's probably 20-30 yards on the road between McGuinness and Locker as number 1 Adrian Archibald comes into view, and round the hairpin Adrian looking very aggressive on that bike today, but it doesn't seem to be working for him on the times. But certainly Locker was on a mission there, absolutely hard on the brakes. There's three come into view: Ryan Farquhar, Bruce Anstey and Jason Griffiths, all line astern. That is fantastic. That's closer flying than the Red Arrows, I'm sure. All line astern up the hill. These bikes are very, very close on performance, handling and in every other respect. But that was three different makes of machine there, and it would certainly be nice. Ryan Farquhar, obviously, well, we haven't got the time yet, but it looks like he's still leading the race, and it would be nice to see Ryan win. It'd be his first win. He's had a torrid week so far, and also he's riding a Kawasaki, and I happen to own one myself, so there's a vested interest for you. The road's quiet at the moment, and actually the antics this lap have been a bit more exciting than the first lap, and there's quite a large crowd here at Ramsey, and I'm sure what we've witnessed earlier in the week in terms of braking and people diving up the inside of each other. We had one guy doing a stoppie with a wheel about 2 foot off the ground. As into view comes number 7, and he's trying hard as well, almost going straight on there, number 7, Raymond Porter. He looked to lay the bike in and then decided better of it and let the brakes run a little bit further on into the hairpin and took a wider line. That's one thing, there is room at this hairpin. Number 9 comes into view, Chris Heath, and number 8, Richard Britton. Richard Britton pattering hard on the forks there as he was braking for the hairpin. So Richard Britton goes up the hill, but let me just look, and we've got Ryan Farquhar now holding a 3-second lead of all that McAdoo Kawasaki over John McGuinness. John McGuinness, as number 10 comes into view, that's Mark Parrott. Mark Parrott, very smooth, been clean and smooth and tidy all week round this hairpin section. Very wide on the exit as he goes up the hill, mind. Yes, we can say that John McGuinness on the Yamaha holds a 7-second advantage over Bruce Anstey on the Suzuki. Taz Suzuki in 3rd place. In 4th place, Ian Locker, just 1 second down on Anstey. Incidentally, the last lap here at... here we go, Martin Finnegan. He can't get that one as sideways as he did his junior bike. Maybe not enough power, maybe not enough speed up the hill. And Sean Harris. So Sean Harris is chasing down on Martin Finnegan. He's up on time on Martin. It won't be that much, but he's certainly up on time on Martin. The first lap here through Ramsey was an unbelievable 19 seconds, covered 11 riders. The first 11 riders in the race covered by just 19 seconds after some 24 miles of frenetic action as number 16 comes into view, and it's Gordon Blackley. Now we know Gordon was high up the leaderboard. Gordon safely away up the hill. Number 11, he's taking a lot of time out of Nigel Davis here. Number 11 comes into view. So it'd be interesting to slot in Gordon Blackley when we get the times. Tommy Klukas, of course, we were looking for him because the Peel lad, we've watched him in practice all week and he's been terrific. And I have to say, I think he's done about 107 laps on that bike, because every lap he's done, I think, is on the junior 600 machine. So he obviously knows the machine well. A Peel lad, he knows the circuit well. And we were all watching for him because we knew he was going to come into the frame. But of course, starting number 41, it's very late to get the information. As Gary Carswell comes into view, pattering and hammering, the forks hammering down on that machine of Gary Carswell's, the HM Suzuki GSXR. He was really hard on the brakes. Clearly this lap, the boys they've done the first lap. They've got the conditions in the head. They know where it's damp, they know where it's dry, and of course here at Ramsey it is dry. It's absolutely perfect conditions here. The sun's gone in slightly, which means there'll be no glare for the riders, because when it's bright sun and you go into a dark area under the trees, it's very difficult to see. In fact, it's amazingly difficult to see in those dark areas under the trees when you've had real bright sunlight in your visor for 5 or 6 miles. So just to update you again, it's Ryan Farquhar holding aboard his McAdoo Kawasaki, number 6, holding a 3-second lead over number 3, John McGuinness on the Yamaha, who in turn holds a 7-second lead over the Taz Suzuki, number 5, of Bruce Anstey, who holds a 1-second lead over the Honda of Ian Locker, as number 21 comes out very fast. Had that bike well over Thomas Montano, number 20, close on his tail, and that's Ian Watson on the Kawasaki. Thomas Montano, as I think one of the commentators said earlier, got a 9th place in the 400 event, and as far as we can gather, that's the best result apart from Dave Roper's classic win by an American since the Pat Hennon era. So Thomas Montano doing really well, and he's quick round here, short circuit it round here, probably had his knee on the ground, probably the only one to really have the bike laid on right on its side. We can go a little bit further down the leaderboard as number 24 comes into view. It's Guy Martin. So Guy, the newcomer this year, doing very well indeed. So going further down the leaderboard, we'll start at the beginning. Farquhar holds 3 seconds over McGuinness, 7 seconds over Anstey, 1 second over Locker, 9 seconds over Griffiths. In 6th place, Chris Heath, some 11 seconds down on Griffiths. 7th is Adrian Archibald, another 3 seconds back, followed by Raymond Porter, 3 seconds down, and Gordon Blackley, 2 seconds down in 9th place. With that, back to the grandstand.
The lights are on at Cronkney-Mona for both Ian Locker and John McGuinness and Adrian Archibald, and also 6 has come on as well, 5 and 4. It was Locker's light that came on just ahead of McGuinness, so does that mean that Ian has pulled ahead of McGuinness on the dash over the mountain so far as the positions on the road are concerned? But obviously Ryan Farquhar is the man that we're concentrating on, number 6 on the McAdoo Kawasaki, and Andy will keep us up to date with how Tommy Klukas has fared when he gets to Ramsey. So much excitement and pit stop this time for all the top guys, and here they come. They're coming into the pits now. McGuinness leads into the stop box with Locker right behind him. McGuinness stops, left foot down, gets the okay. Locker right behind him, and they make their way into the pits. We'll join Chris Kinley.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, Roy Richardson came in to retire a bit earlier on. They said the conditions out there were absolutely terrible. So John McGuinness in second place currently at the moment at Ramsey, 3 seconds down on Farquhar. Gets the information. Adrian Archibald into the stop box, foot down, and off he goes as well. Here is Ryan Farquhar. Let's move out of Mark's way. The guys, John McGuinness in as well. Ryan, a little bit of a stoppy there as well. Straight in. So Ryan leads the race. Bruce Anstey in, and also Jason Griffiths in. Ian Locker leaves. So Ryan getting the information. You're leading by 2 seconds. Dodge your flying visor there. So let's get all the fuel in. The timing this, the stopwatches are on, the camera crews are on Ryan. Is this going to be his first win? Jason is in also. Adrian Archibald just about to go, is he? Just getting the rest of the fuel in now. Ryan taking a long drink. A little bit cooler here today, I'm sure you'll agree. If you're sat in the grandstand, it's quite cool today. Just checking the rear tyres. The rear tyres look fine. There goes Archibald. And there also goes Jason. Here's Ryan going as well. So Ryan Farquhar, the leader, by 3 seconds at Ramsey, is in and out. So all the top guys are out. So as soon as we get some times from Tim, feverishly working on them. So of course it was pretty tight at Ramsey, and we'll get some times in a moment as well. We've still got Tommy Klukas to come in as well. Another rider coming in. Okay, I'm hearing in my headphones equal 5th. Tommy Klukas is equal 5th at Ramsey. Raymond Porter now, and of course Raymond jumped up from number 30 to number 7. So Raymond now into the pits. Another rider just about to go. Okay, guys, let's just move out of the way a moment. It's Chris Heath, who currently is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to be about 7th or 8th place at the moment. So local rider Chris going very, very well into his pit for the fuel, etc. Then we have Richard Britton coming in. You heard Andy saying pattering on the brakes on the way in. So fast and furious stuff. Richard Britton in now. Let's go over to Tim. Hopefully Tim will have these times worked out. So we got Richard Britton, Raymond Porter just about to leave, and Chris Heath getting his fuel at the moment. Tim.
Well, they called him Magnificent McGuinness. He's gone into the lead by 4 seconds over Ryan Farquhar after the pit stops. Bruce Anstey is further 5 seconds back in 3rd. Locker in 4th, 7 seconds behind Anstey. Griffiths in 5th, 1 second behind Locker. And at the moment, Archibald 19 seconds behind Griffiths, but we've got to wait for Tommy Klukas and Gordon Blackley.
Excellent, thank you very much there, Tim. So McGuinness back into the lead. Mark Parrott currently in for his pit stop. A couple more riders approaching the... Yes, here we go. Martin Finnegan and, of course, Sean Harris both in together. And it's a drag race to the pit. Sean just in front of me here. And Martin Finnegan in as well. He's had some bad luck this week, but Sean's in. Can Sean get a finish? He's had a lot of bad luck this week, of course, winning this race last year. Sean, like me, a little short fella, and just touching the floor with his tiptoes there, leaning the bike over to get as much fuel in it as possible. Martin Finnegan also in as well. Another rider coming in as well. It is Gordon Blackley. Yes, it is Gordon, just about to come to the stop box. Gets the left foot down and drives down towards his pit, which is all the guys are, well, this is pretty tight here. As Sean Harris leaves, we'll take a commercial.
Don't miss any of the latest TT action when you're on the island. The Ulster newsletter is on sale all week. And if you somehow miss anything, catch up with our spectacular review of the week on Monday the 14th. The Ulster newsletter is at the races.
Job opportunities exist with Swagelock Limited, a leading designer and manufacturer of industrial fluid system components. If you have experience or an aptitude for engineering manufacture, particularly CNC setters and operators, please contact 692 692 or the Job Centre Douglas for an application form and further details.
Motorcycle News, the best place to buy and sell your bike. There are thousands of bikes for sale in your area. Simply log on to motorcyclenews.com or to place an ad, call 0800 555 050. Motorcycle News, the fastest way to your next bike.
Well, Ryan Farquhar, what a ride. He's having 3 times on the podium here in the Isle of Man, but yet to win a TT. He hasn't had the best of years. He had an accident off his quad bike in March, doing damage to his right wrist. He spent an awful lot of time in the oxygen chamber at the fire station here in the Isle of Man, getting specialised treatment for that, although he was the best Irish rider at the Northwest 200, but would mean an awful lot to him and the team if he could clinch victory here. But there's a long way to go yet, and he's got that fella McGuinness in front of him on corrected time. McGuinness, I must say, that was a superb effort by John McGuinness's Yamaha pit crew. They had him in and out like lightning, and away he was off down the pit lane. We have a further retirement, number 49, Fabrice Miguet, the Frenchman. Fabrice Miguet is a retirement from the production 600. In front of us now is Ian Watson. He's just come in for his pit stop on another Kawasaki, the ZX6RR in the green leathers and the typical Kawasaki green fairing. So it's all happening out there. We still wait for Tommy Klukas, and we're just watching the clock just in case he comes through, but we've got no time. We have to catch the leaders at Glen Helen with Morris.
Thank you, because here is the leader on the road and the leader on corrected time at the last count. McGuinness, he's through here, but there's another machine fairly quickly. Could be Locker, I would suspect. Here it is. 3 and 2 the sequence, and a great pit there by McGuinness has allowed him to take that advantage. It was 4 seconds, we're told, as they left the pit. What will it be at Glen Helen on lap 3 is 1, 2 machines into view now. 5 and 1. Anstey and Archibald. Now 2 more. The quickest old, there's Farquhar, followed by Griffiths. But they're all in pairs there, the first 6. Fantastic racing around this circuit. The roads continue to dry and conditions will improve throughout. We'll shuffle these times just as quickly as we can. All I can tell you at the moment is McGuinness led on the roads from Locker, and they were followed then, I think, by Anstey, Archibald, Farquhar and Griffiths in that sequence. Number 7 Porter should be next, but it's fast, it's furious, and whilst they're not on race record speed, they're certainly providing some entertainment around, as those first half a dozen or so circulate almost together in groups of 2 and 3. They were in the pits together, they're out together. Obviously it'll be a little while before we get to 41 through here, Tommy Klukas, but I can tell you that that 4-second gap is no more. Farquhar's pulled it back. We can't separate them here at Glen Helen lap 3. What a race this is turning out to be. They're absolutely equal. There's Porter. We cannot separate McGuinness and Farquhar, so he's pulled back 4 seconds effectively from the grandstand. He's on the pace. Back to Chris for a moment.
Yeah, Tommy Klukas coming in, of course, a fantastic ride from number 41. He said to me before TT, not very happy about his start number, in he comes to his pits now. And for those of you who knows Tommy, and he locks up the back wheel coming in as well, so I'm going to stay out of the way because it is hectic here. Round about 5th place for the local man from Peel, so can he keep it going here now? And I'm going to try and stay away from him because Tommy's been known to say the odd swear word to people when you've been talking to him, so we have to be really careful. So the talking to him, so... Okay, so Tim O'Hanlon's going to watch for the times there. So they're counting the times, 19, 20, 20, 21. So about 20 seconds they counted there. And there she goes. We'll go back to Morris for a second, then we'll get the time from Tim.
Yes, thanks, Chris. I'm sure you'll give me those times when you can get it, but the news on lap 3 here is that Farquhar's pulled back that 4 seconds. He's equal first now with number 3 McGuinness. They're 4 seconds up on now the 3rd place man, Bruce Anstey. Anstey in turn has a 14-second advantage over the 4th place man, Locker. 13 and 12 in that order. Sean Harris ahead on the road of Martin Finnegan, and obviously up on corrected time. Whilst you were away, we also had safely through here Chris Heath, Richard Britton and Mark Parrott, and they were in fact in that sequence 9, 8 and 10. I think we got down to 5th place with number 4 Jason Griffiths. Back to Chris for a moment.
Yes, after the pit stops, Tommy Klukas is still in 7th place, and he's only 4 seconds behind Archibald, with Gordon Blackley 1 second behind Klukas and Harris 8 seconds behind Blackley.
Back to Morris.
Yes, thanks. Well, it is fast, it is furious, but it is close, and I think that's the greatest thing. We were looking back at the situation here on the previous lap where we made it only about 40 seconds separated the first 12 on lap 2. The pit stops obviously has had an effect on that, but it is close racing indeed, and certainly some fantastic excitement. Let's go back to our leaderboard. Long time before Tommy Lucas is scheduled to be here, but all these positions can change on this lap and of course the final lap. But we're on lap 3. We can slot in number 9 into 6th place Chris Heath. That's number 11 Nigel Davis still circulating. Let's go back to 5th place. That's number 4 Jason Griffiths. He's 3 seconds down on Locker of those that have gone through. 21 seconds ahead of the 6th place man. That's number 9 Chris Heath. Heath in turn 3 seconds up on Adrian Archibald, number 1. They're followed by number 7 Raymond Porter, who currently holds 8th place. With the machine in the drying conditions. 14 Gary Carswell. But it's a fantastic race up front, with the lead changing between McGuinness and Farquhar, but only 4 seconds still separating those from Bruce Anstey. So 4 seconds only separating the first 3. Locker's not that far adrift. Might have had a slower pit stop because he's 14 seconds down on Anstey and 3 seconds ahead of just having a look, number 4 Jason Griffiths. So only 20 seconds separating the first 5. But the news from Glen Helen lap 3, we cannot separate McGuinness and Farquhar. With that, back to the grandstand.
Don't miss any of the latest TT action when you're on the island. The Ulster newsletter is on sale all week. And if you somehow miss anything, catch up with our spectacular review of the week on Monday the 14th. The Ulster newsletter is at the races.
What better way to finish off a great day's racing than with a great meal? Everyone's welcome at the Paragon restaurant at the Hilton Hotel and Casino. Choose from the 2-course carvery at just $11.95 or tuck into a succulent steak with a selection of sauces at only $14.95. Tempted? Then make sure of your table by calling the Paragon now on 682755.
Great clothing, great choice, great value. Where? Behind the grandstand. There's a fabulous selection of quality TT merchandise for the whole family. Make this a TT to remember and buy your official gear from Motorsport Merchandise or visit ttmerchandise.com.
Glen Helen, les chronos vérifiés. Les numéros 6 et 3, Ryan Farquhar, John McGuinness en tête à égalité. 4 secondes d'avance sur les numéros 5, Bruce Anstey. Heike.
Ja, danke schön. Neuigkeiten also aus Glen Helen in der 3. Runde. McGuinness hat es geschafft, mit Ryan Farquhar gleichzuziehen. Die beiden sind zeitgleich dort angekommen und haben gemeinsam einen 4-sekündigen Vorsprung auf die Nummer 5, Bruce Anstey. Zurück an Charlie.
Heike, thanks very much indeed. Maria Costello is safely off on lap 3, one of the 2 lady competitors in this, along with Fabienne Migou. So terrific stuff out there on the road. Just to give you Ryan's lap time for lap 2, it was 19 minutes 1.9 seconds. Ryan Farquhar's time for the second lap, 19 minutes 1.9 seconds. That's 118.94 miles per hour. Well, a wonderful scrap developing then at the top of the field in the production 600. John McGuinness and Ryan Farquhar. McGuinness had a really slick pit stop. Away he went, 4 seconds ahead. But Farquhar pulled that up by the time they got to Glen Helen. So will Farquhar be ahead when they stream past Andy McGladdery at Ramsey Hairpin?
Well, we await the first rider coming into view. It's certainly exciting, and we thought the 1,000 production race was a close, exciting race, but this 600 production has certainly eclipsed that, certainly so far. And the rider comes into view, and it's John McGuinness. John McGuinness leads on the road, number 3 on the beautiful red and black Yamaha. Safely round, as always, on line. And here comes Ian Locker. Now, Ian's really trying. He's hard on the brakes. His usual wide line. He takes a wider line than any of these other riders on this hairpin. And Bruce Anstey. Very tight for Bruce Anstey. Totally surprised how there are different lines. Farquhar's gone inside Adrian Archibald into the hairpin. What a fantastic manoeuvre. And right behind them, watching all the action, is Jason Griffiths. In fact, I think Jason was expecting to pick the pieces up there, because Archibald was in the lead of the 3 of them as they came up to the hairpin. But Farquhar realised he can't waste any time, can't lose any time. He just stuck it up the inside, and Adrian Archibald had to pick it up and move out of his way, because it was a case of I'm coming through. That was terrific action, absolutely fantastic. So obviously Ryan Farquhar, he knows the victory's there. He knows it's within his grasp. It'll be his first TT victory and the first Kawasaki victory for, well, I don't have the records here, but I'm sure it's some considerable time. We have to probably go back to the Mick Grant era when the Kawasaki's had any kind of dominance on the island. For all there have been victories since. I think Jeff Johnson won production races on Kawasaki's going back to the mid-80s. But that was a fantastic move here. And Farquhar was just absolutely on it. We haven't got the updated times just yet, but as soon as they come out, we shall give you them. As interview comes number 7, his usual tight line, Raymond Porter. He's safely round and away. He takes a very tight line in. And economy of space. He's not using a lot of the road, but it's surprising. You can have guys like Ian Locker, who takes a very wide line, goes fast all the way around the outside, keeps his speed up. As another rider comes into view, very fast indeed. And that's Chris Heath, number 9. He was really flying there. And here's Richard Britton. Richard Britton smooth. But they're on the brakes. That bike last time it was hopping here. The forks, when they compress, are starting to judder. Whether he's got a braking problem, whether he's got a fork problem, maybe too soft on the front end, who knows? But certainly juddering very hard into here for Richard Britton as number 10 rounds the hairpin. Mark Parrott, as ever, smooth, clean. I mean, McGuinness is the one for the hairpin in terms of consistency. You could chalk a line around here, and John McGuinness would follow it lap after lap after lap. Absolutely bang on it. As I was saying, on the approach to Ramsey Hairpin here, as they come into our site, they've come out of Cruikshank's corner, accelerating up towards Stella Maris, and the bigger bikes are right out to the wall near Stella Maris, which is a right-hand approach. But that time, Chris Heath had obviously got good speed, and oh yeah, thank you, Martin Finnegan, he gets it broadside coming in here at the hairpin. Beautiful, best on his production bike. Sean Harris, I think Sean has just dropped a little bit off there from Martin Finnegan. Time-wise, we've got Ryan Farquhar holds a 2-second advantage over over Bruce Anstey. Now Bruce Anstey slipped into second place. There's a surprise. And John McGuinness is 7 seconds down on Anstey. So quite a reshuffle from Glen Helen. Whether McGuinness has had a problem, who knows? What's happened there? It's big change round. Or is Anstey on a charge? Has Anstey left it all to the last lap? We've only got the first 3 times at the moment, but it's Ryan Farquhar, number 6 on the Kawasaki here at Ramsey Hairpin on the final lap, holds a 2-second advantage over the Taz Suzuki of Bruce Anstey. Now Bruce must have taken some time out of him to be that close, because he was in 3rd at Glen Helen. Bruce Anstey, number 5 on the Taz Suzuki, holds a 7-second advantage over John McGuinness on the Yamaha, number 3. John McGuinness in turn holds a 12-second advantage over teammate Jason Griffiths, number 4 on the Yamaha. In 5th place is Ian Locker. We haven't got the time on that one just yet. Yes, we have. It's minus 6 seconds for Locker, so 6 seconds down on Griffiths for Ian Locker. In 4th place, number 11 comes through. That's Nigel Davis. Very smooth, very clean, away up the hill. So it's building up. It's going to be some battle over the mountain. Anstey, well, what can we say? Does he know? I mean, he's right behind Farquhar, so he's actually got a... well, I'm getting confused here. What number? Anstey is number 5. Farquhar's number 6. So I would have thought that was a bigger gap. Am I getting confused here by my timekeeper? I'm not sure. We'll try not to confuse you, because we are confused, I'll tell you. Number 14, Gary Carswell goes through on the HM Suzuki, number 14. We can slot some more times in for you anyway. Ian Locker in 5th place holds a 23-second advantage over Adrian Archibald. I know why I'm getting confused, because I'm confusing Archibald with Anstey there, that's why. Adrian Archibald holds a 1-second advantage over Chris Heath in 7th place. So they're all slotting in. Of course, Tommy Klukas is going to come into the equation. We had him here in 5th place on his 2nd lap. Of course, the pit stops can cause quite a reshuffle. It seems the established order in the first few hasn't changed, but maybe Tommy Klukas could gain or lose time in the pit stop. But being number 41, we have to wait some considerable time before he comes. Number 21 comes into view. Thomas Montano, fast as ever. So Farquhar leads by 2 seconds from Anstey, from McGuinness, from Griffiths, from Locker, from Archibald, from Chris Heath, from Raymond Porter, from Gordon Blackley, here at Ramsey Hairpin on the final lap, and I'll hand you back to the grandstand.
Die TT-Fahrer wissen, zum Rennfahren gehört mehr als nur Geschwindigkeit, zum Beispiel Kontrolle. Je schneller man fährt, umso mehr Kontrolle braucht man. Überlass das Rennfahren den Profis, fahr langsamer in Kurven. Zu hohe Geschwindigkeit und du kriegst den Asphalt zu spüren. Denk dran, fahr langsamer. Die Straße schlägt zurück.
Well, the lights are already on for 3, 5 and 2, but I haven't seen the light come on for number 6, Ryan Farquhar, just yet. So it's on now. Ryan Farquhar's light is on now, so it's all about the corrected time, and of course it's all about the podium places now, with only 7 seconds at Ramsey dividing Ryan Farquhar, who's in the lead, by 2 seconds over Bruce Anstey, and John McGuinness a further 7 seconds behind. So it's going to be a question of keeping our concentration on the stopwatches, working out the corrected time as soon as we can. Will Anstey have continued that charge? He caught up between Glen Helen and Ramsey. He knocked 2 seconds off Ryan Farquhar's lead. And there is McGuinness. McGuinness crosses the line now. McGuinness crosses the line now, but it's all about 5 and 6. It's all about 5 and 6. It's all about Anstey, and here comes Anstey. Here comes Anstey crossing the line now. And we wait for Farquhar, remembering there was a 10-second gap. We wait for Farquhar, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. He crosses the line now. I think he's done it. Griffith's just behind him. I made it 7.8 seconds on my very unofficial stopwatch, the gap. So it looks to me as if Farquhar has got the production 600 TT in the bag, and Norman Quayle is just confirming the figures for me now. 2.3 seconds ahead of Bruce Anstey, and Anstey 9 seconds ahead of John McGuinness. Well, what a fantastic race, what a dramatic finish, and a wonderful performance by Ryan Farquhar, the 28-year-old from Dungannon, on the ZX6 McAdoo Kawasaki. He's kept going, he's kept his cool despite the fact that things have gone terribly wrong for him and the team this week, and they have got their reward. It's Ryan Farquhar's first ever TT victory, holder of course of the 600cc junior lap record last year. He's been on the podium 3 times. He's on the top spot now though, and he's with Chris Kinley.
Yeah, just trying to get through all these people here now if I can. Absolute bedlam down here. What a week he's had. And you know, at the start of the week, you found out his good lady was pregnant. His good wife, of course, he got married over here, and of course, Southern 100 champion, and now he is production 600 TT winner for 2004. And what a smile after the week these guys have had. And they said to me before, after he'd done his pit stop, that's the first time we've had a chance to do that. So let Ryan take his gloves off. He's going to try and make the soak in a bit. All the boys are here, and 2.3 seconds. It's spot on. I think it's all he's ever wanted to do. He's won a Northwest. He's going to be a father in a few months, and now he's won a TT. Ryan, get your hat on, my boy. What do you think about that? Karen's here. Go on, see your good lady first. See the good lady first. All the boys are here, all the Irish guys are here, and they've all been asking me, is he in the lead? Has he won this? Has he won this? And he has, and it's in now. 2.3 seconds. He's giving her a big hug. Let him get his hat on, let him take a breath and work all this in. What a week he's had. So there's the good lady. Ryan, what about it?
It hasn't sunk in yet, you know. Just first lap got a few slides, you know, and just hung in as best I could. And I saw his second, got up into the lead, and just says to myself, right, we'll keep a steady pace here. The Kawasaki was absolutely flying. You know, I had a fair idea before I went out, you know, a production Kawasaki 600 is probably the best 600 there is out there. Pirelli tyres, you know, everyone just went magic. Couldn't ask for a better ride. I think I lost a wee bit of time, the pit stop, you know.
4 seconds, yeah.
But, you know, it's better safe than sorry, get plenty of fuel on after what happened Tuesday, you know, but well pleased.
No problems at all? What was the conditions like, firstly?
Well, a few place dump spots, you know, got a few slides coming out of Ballacrane, and, you know, whenever I come in behind Jason and Adrian, you know, and I come in behind some guy in Kawasaki there in the last lap, and I was saying, don't screw this up for me, you know, as I knew I was in fairly steady pace, and I didn't want to go offline in case I hit a dump spot, but apart from that, everyone went perfect. You know, I'm shaking.
I know, I can tell he's actually shaking against me here, but not a good start to the year for you. And of course, you went to the Northwest, did very well considering you hadn't ridden. You had some awful luck here, but now, hey, what about it then? Hey, spot on. What a night tonight.
I, like, you know, at the start of the season, I broke my wrist and missed Cookstown, Tonnergy and Scarborough, and went to the Northwest. Didn't get a win, which I was on the podium twice in 600 Kawasaki and was well pleased with that. But to come here in the first 3 races, just a disaster, you know, but this makes up for it.
And a good lady there as well. Karen, he's done all right, hasn't he?
Fantastic. He worked very, very hard for it. Everybody did, you know, especially when the beginning of the year was so bad, or the beginning of the week. No, can't speak.
All right, after the senior race, then let's hope we have a good run in that as well, then in the beer tent. Ryan, well done.
I could go to the beer tent now.
Thank you, Ryan. Well done. Ryan Farquhar there wins his first TT. And let's get round and have a word with their second place. Was it Bruce Anstey, Charlie, please?
Yes, indeed. Bruce Anstey was second, Chris.
No problem at all. Let's get in and get a quick word with Bruce, if I may. Just get in now before all the TV scrum gets in, and a second place for Bruce. Excuse me, Peter. Just get through there, matey. Thank you very, very much. 2.3 seconds, I think it was, tied.
Yeah, just gave it everything I'd had on that last lap to sort of catch up to him again, and just couldn't quite do it, but
there you go. What about the conditions around the course? A little bit windy, a few damp patches around, Ryan was saying. A few slides or not, or everything okay?
Not too bad. I see Ryan had a bit of a slide in front of us. But it was tricky and just know how hard to push on that first lap, and sort of I struggled on the first lap again, but it was a hard race to sort of.
Very hard. I mean, John as well. John held the lead, then Ryan held the lead, then John got it back, and then Ryan got it back, and you were coming into the equation as well.
Yeah, once I sort of got out in front of him, I knew I pushed hard, trying to get a break on him and try and gain the time back on him, but I just couldn't quite do it.
Another second place, so must be very pleased with that.
Yeah, definitely began. The Suzuki's been running well all week now, so see how we get on in senior.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Well done again.
Cool, thank you.
There you go, second place for Bruce, and third place this week, so that makes 3 wins, a second and a third. Of course, is John McGuinness, currently being interviewed by the TV at the moment. We'll get John on in just a second. First, second and a third this week, but you must be pleased that Ryan must have rode the wheels off that.
Yeah, fair play to Ryan and Bruce, you know, I mean, I think it was close in the first lap. There wasn't much in it between all a lot of us. I was getting P 1 second.
There was something like, I think 19 seconds covering the first 12 or something like that.
Yeah, it was fantastic racing. I was enjoying it. And then going through Milltown on the second lap, over that little jump around the right-hander, the steering damper bolt snapped out. So I really slowed down because I wondered what it was for a while. I thought I had a puncture. And I looked down where the handlebar department is, and I could see the steering damper was flapping around. So I did the last lap and a half with no steering damper. So I couldn't quite push as hard as I wanted to. I just wanted to bring the bike home safe, and to finish on the podium in a race as competitive as that with no steering damper. I'm happy with that.
Very pleased. You got 4 seconds back up on him after the pit stop as well, and then obviously you had the problem. So that's how he got you back. But he's done well though, considering the week he's had.
Oh, it's fair play. He can ride those production bikes. The Proddy bikes aren't my favourite bike, but I was quite enjoying that. It was good fun.
Look out behind you. There's a little one coming to get you.
Hello, mate. Yeah, little Ewan's here.
Big shake of the hand. So
he'll be looking back on this and be giving me a kick in money in a few years.
No, he won't. Good luck for the senior a bit later on, John. Thanks.
All right, cheers.
There you go. So third place to John McGuinness there. First place to Ryan, and second place to Bruce Anstey. Let's go back to you, Charlie.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. I've just heard that there's a correction to the race programme where the senior was published for a 1:15 start time, but in actual fact it's going to be 12:45 the senior gets underway. The light is on for number 41. It's not Norihaga, it is Tommy Klukas, and he has had an absolutely sensational morning of it. A wonderful opening lap by Tommy, and we're waiting for him to come across the line and just see where he slots into things. And here he comes now, and he takes the checkered flag and he sits up in the seat, and he knows he's had a pretty good day's work, has Tommy Klukas. 36 years of age, a stores supervisor for the Manx Electricity Authority from Peel. Failed to finish in the Proddy 1000, but my goodness me, he's finished in style in the Proddy 600 because he has finished in 11th place, and that is a pretty good performance. Tommy Klukas, after a blistering opening lap that took him up to 6th place, right on the shoulder of Jason Griffiths, ahead of the likes of Archibald and Harris at that stage, losing a bit of time in the pits and then finishing finally in 11th place. So good stuff for the man from Peel. We'll get a summary in German and French, starting with Mavis.
Merci Charlie. À la fin de la course fin de la course production 600, en tête le numéro 6 Ryan Farker, victoire par 2,3 secondes sur le numéro 5 Bruce Anstey, 9 secondes d'avance sur le numéro 3 John McGuinness. Heike.
Ja, danke schön, Mavis. Hier also unser nächster Gewinner in der 600er Production Serie, Start Nummer 6 Ryan Farquhar. Was für eine wunderbare Überraschung, wie wunderschön für ihn. Es ist sein erster TT-Gewinn und die neuesten Neuigkeiten sind auch, dazu wird er bald Vater werden. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, alles Gute für Ryan und seine Frau. An zweiter Stelle Start Nummer 5 Bruce Anstey. An dritter Stelle Start Nummer 3 John McGuinness. Kurzer Nachtrag, die Zeiten hier, diesmal keine Rekorde, aber das wird Ryan sicher hier ganz egal sein. Er hat sein Rennen gewonnen mit 57 Minuten 46,8 Sekunden. Das ist ein Vorsprung von 2,3 Sekunden auf Bruce Anstey. Der wiederum hat mit 9 Sekunden Vorsprung auf John McGuinness seinen zweiten Platz wohlverdient. Zurück an Charlie.
Thank you, Heike. Well, terrific stuff. A wonderful morning's entertainment with the senior to follow at 12:45. Tommy Klukas, 6th place at the end of lap 1, down in 7th after lap 2, and eventually finishing in 11th. And Davey Morgan had a pretty good ride as well, remembering that he started off at 38th, and he was 15th after lap 1, and he remained in that position for the rest of the race. So Davey Morgan, number 38 when he started off, 15th at the end of the race. And I will give you a full rundown now of how they finished here at the grandstand, although we've got to slot Tommy Klukas in here. Oh no, he's not in the top 10, he's just out of the top 10. So this is how the top 10 looks then at the end of the Production 600 TT. It was victory for number 6, Ryan Farquhar, 2.3 seconds ahead of number 5, Bruce Anstey. Victory for Kawasaki Suzuki in 2nd place. 9 seconds ahead of number 3, John McGuinness on the Yamaha. John finishing 10 seconds ahead of, in 4th place, Jason Griffiths, Yamaha. Jason 13.2 seconds ahead of, in 5th place, Ian Locker, Honda. Ian 22.9 seconds ahead of, in 6th place, number 7, Raymond Porter. Raymond Porter on a Suzuki coming in 6th place, so another good TT finish for him. Raymond 1.8 seconds ahead of the man in 7th place, that's number 9, Chris Heath. Chris 2.2 seconds ahead of the man in 8th place, yes that's right, that's number 16, Gordon Blackley on the PR Tyres Branson Honda 600. Gordon Blackley 3.7 seconds ahead of, in 9th place, number 1, Adrian Archibald on the Taz Suzuki, and Adrian Archibald finishing 3.6 seconds ahead of number 10, Mark Parrott on the Honda. That is your top 10 confirmed then at the end of the Production 600. Ryan Farquhar's lap time for the 3rd and final lap, including the pit stop, was 19 minutes 30.1 seconds. That's a speed of 116.08 miles an hour, but remember that does include the pit stop. So congratulations to Ryan. He's done the business good and proper after a disappointing TT so far, and that means that he is the winner and will pick up around £5,650 for his efforts over those 113.19 miles of the race.